Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Ellen here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 1 of What If Deku Had a Time Quirk. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. Time. Space. Reality. It's more than a linear path. It's a prism of endless possibilities. How do I know this? Well, that's my quirk, or what I like to think is my quirk. My name's Izuku Midoriya. My quirk is time manipulation, and this is my story. A 5-year-old boy with black and green frizzled hair and bright green eyes was standing over a boy on the ground, beaten up and marked with first-degree burns over his body. The young boy had his hands up, seemingly defending the boy on the ground from being beaten up by another boy with ash blonde hair and red eyes, his hands crackling with sparks and smoke.
Come on, Deku, you don't stand a chance without a quirk. Why get in the way and act like a hero for a weakling?
The ash blonde kid said demeaningly towards the green-haired boy. These two boys were named Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Baku. Both kids had been friends since birth, and one had already gotten his quirk. Midoriya had been protecting the kid behind him from being beaten up by Bakugo.
Come on, Kachan, stop being so mean,
Midoriya said through tears in his eyes as he stood bravely before his friend.
My quirk hasn't come in yet. The doctor said it needed time.
Time. That's what the doctor said. My quirk needed time to come in and manifest before I am able to use it to its fullest potential. I don't know when that time would come, but I never thought it would come when I needed it the most. 8 years had passed for the young Izuku Midoriya as he sat in his junior high school classroom studying notes from that morning's past events. His body structure was more defined with muscles, and his mind and reaction time had been enhanced drastically from all the torment that Katsuki Bakugo, his childhood friend turned bully, had given him. Bakugo did respect Midoriya with his strength and reaction time he had developed over the years, but doubted his quirk would ever come in. Both boys had been together every day since Izuku's doctor's visit to test to see when his quirk would come in, but yet nothing. Midoriya's quirk, seemingly to both boys, seemed like a massive misdiagnosis to the both of them, but all they knew was that his quirk had to do with a certain word: time. Both boys had tried everything in order for his quirk to manifest, but nothing seemed to activate his quirk, no matter what the duo did.
All right, settle down, kids.
All students looked up to their junior high teacher.
Now I would pass out career aptitude tests, but why bother? I know you all want to go to the hero track.
Their teacher threw the papers up into the air as everyone but 2 students shouted out in glee using their quirks.
Yes, you all have impressive quirks, but no power usage in school.
Hey, Deej, don't love me in with these bunch of rejects, Bakugo jeered with a smug look on his face.
They'd probably end up as sidekicks to some busted D-lister.
The class erupted into a rage, shouting insults at Bakugo, who just scoffed at their remarks and exploded one in their face with his quirk.
You do have remarkable scores, Bakugo. Maybe you will make it into UA.
The class was shocked at what their teacher just said, UA being the toughest, top-rated hero school in the country. As Bakugo praised himself while jumping on his desk, a pencil shot him in the back of the head. As Bakugo looked behind him, Midoriya could be seen with a rubber band and a second pencil ready to shoot at his childhood friend.
Come on, Kachan, you really want to ruin another desk by jumping on top of one and breaking it again?
Midoriya joked as he said this slyly towards Bakugo. Bakugo grinned as he saw what Midoriya did as a challenge.
Oh really, nerd? Are you testing my abilities again?
Bakugo said smugly as he walked over to face his short childhood friend.
Oh yeah, Midoriya, don't you want to go to UA too?
The class turned back to their teacher and then back to the duo staring down each other. They all knew that Midoriya was highly intelligent and strong without a quirk. His reaction time and ability to plan on the spot made him a worthy adversary to their class hothead. If they said or tried anything to Midoriya, he could end their reputation with ease.
That's right. Even if I get my quirk late, I can still make it into the hero course. Isn't that right, Kachan?
Midoriya said while still staring up at Bakugo, who in turn grinned like a mad dog with his signature smug look.
And why the hell would I let you go anywhere else, you damn nerd? We both are here to become heroes, and you will be there so I can make it past your ass into number 1. You better bring your A-game, nerd.
Bakugo confirmed as he went back to his seat. Midoriya sat back down to continue writing notes in his notebook. As the school day finished, Midoriya was walking home underneath a bridge, deep in thought about one thing: his quirk. Time. Time was what his quirk consisted of. He kept on walking, deep in thought, back to the day at the doctor's, back when he got to check on his quirk diagnosis.
This quirk is very interesting. Nothing like I've seen before.
Izuku's mother and father looked at Dr. Garaki with curiosity. The family of Midoriyas were in Dr. Garaki's office as he was looking through the DNA files and x-rays of Izuku Midoriya on his computer. Seeing that his quirk was very interesting but also very unstable in his child state. "What's the problem, doctor?" Inko looked to Garaki with worry in her eyes. She looked at a 4-year-old Izuku as he held on tight to his All Might figurine. Inko was wearing her pink cardigan, yellow shirt, and blue skirt, and had her green hair down with a bun on the back of her head.
"Is there something off with our son's quirk?"
Hisashi Midoriya held onto his wife's arm in comfort. Hisashi was wearing a black, short-sleeved turtleneck and blue jeans while having an unlit cigarette in his mouth. His black hair was all frizzled like his son's and had a 5 o'clock shadow of a beard as he rarely shaved.
"Oh no, nothing's wrong, but it seems your son has a mutation of both of your quirks when they combined. Tell me, what are each of your quirks?"
"Well, my quirk allows me to pull small objects towards me, nothing special," Inko explained to the doctor as she pulled one of the pencils from Dr. Garaki's desk.
"And mine, well..."
Hisashi breathed fire while having his mouth open in an O formation as the fire made a ring and extinguished into smoke. Inko smiled at her husband's trick, as it was one of the things that got her in love with him.
"Ah, I see. Well, the interesting thing about this quirk is that it takes both of your quirks and made it something different. All I know is that young Izuku's body isn't ready for something of this size of a quirk, as it's gently pulling in energy around him."
Dr. Garaki explained to the Midoriya family as he looked through the DNA files.
"It seems like his body will keep pulling in energy till his body is ready to utilize his quirk. I'm not sure when he'll be able to use his quirk, but all I know is that his quirk seems to deal with time."
The Midoriya family looked interested in this knowledge, but Midoriya's father looked solemnly at his son as he picked him up in a hug.
"Let's just hope that he isn't quirkless for long. Quirkless kids are not all that accepted in Japan too well. I wish that wasn't the case."
Hisashi thought deeply at what might happen to Izuku, as he was genuinely excited that he would get a quirk. As Izuku was lost in thought about what had happened in the past, the manhole cover to the sewers rattled and opened as a sludge-like villain came up from behind Izuku. He turned around and quickly got out of the way of the sludge villain attack.
"Ah yes, a medium-sized bodysuit, strong as well. You'll make the perfect getaway, kid."
The sludge villain lunged towards Midoriya as he quickly dodged out of the way, but for some reason the sludge villain seemed a tad bit slower than usual. Izuku thought that it was because of his time fighting with Bakugo that he had become faster. As he quickly drew out a pencil slingshot he made in his time at school, he loaded it with a pencil and aimed straight for the sludge villain's eye, but it seemed to go faster than his usual shots he took at Bakugo, and for a second it seemed like he was glowing with a green hue.
"Ah, you little brat!"
Izuku didn't get time to analyze his sudden speed as the sludge villain jumped for him with one eye blinded by a pencil to his eye. But the villain never got to his prey as the manhole cover shot open to reveal a hulking man in green cargo pants, black boots, a white shirt, yellow hair that seemed to be slicked back besides 2 bunny ears made from his hair, and a symbol on his belt. This video is sponsored by SoundPeats and their new True Free 2 wireless earbuds to provide the next level of quality and comfort. Ever gone out for a run and have to readjust your buds every 5 minutes? How about worrying about getting caught in the rain and ruining your $200 earbuds? Well, those days are behind you, with an ergonomic design created to stay on even through the most rigorous workout or function through a cascade of rain with its IPX7 water resistance. Enjoy 20 hours of battery life and seamless switching between earbuds without interruptions and at a fraction of the price of most premium earbuds. Check out the new True Free 2 wireless earbuds in the link in the description. Also, know that using the link below, you won't only get an excellent audio experience, Still, you'll be supporting the channel so we can continue to provide the highest quality content possible. Each purchase helps, so if you're on the lookout for a new pair of buds, we've got you covered. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the story.
Have no fear, citizen!
Midoriya and the sludge villain looked towards the hulking man and both widened their eyes, Midoriya in admiration and the villain in fear. This hulking figure was none other than the number one hero, All Might.
Because I am here, Texas Smash!
Midoriya, being the fanboy he was, just stared in awe of the number one hero of Japan as he pulled his right arm back into one of his signature smashes. The sludge villain was in utter fear as he then was splattered against the walls and flooring of the underpass.
Young man, are you all right?
The number one hero asked Midoriya with concern.
I was traversing those sewers as they were a maze to get to this villain. I'm sorry if you had to use your quirk in self-defense.
Midoriya looked at All Might with curiosity as he thought about what he did. Did I activate my quirk? Midoriya then looked at his slingshot and then at the pencil he launched at the villain. I did seem to be moving faster than that villain. Could my late quirk somehow have had enough time to gather the needed energy from the area? If so, then why did it just seem I was moving faster than the world around me? Could I just be extremely fast? No, that can't be the case. The doctor said that it had something to do with time, but how would that explain?
Does this kid know he's mumbling? Must be a habit of his, All Might thought as a sweat drop formed on his head. Young man, you are talking way too fast to explain what happened. Might you slow down for a moment?
Midoriya was taken out of his mumbling trance when he looked to All Might with a sheepish smile, rubbing the back of his head with his left hand. Was I mumbling again? Midoriya asked as he then noticed the sludge starting to form itself together slowly. Without thinking, Midoriya grabbed his spare thermos as he then rushed at speeds that the number one hero could see.
Right, I almost forgot about the villain.
All Might gathered his thoughts as he grabbed a 2-liter bottle from his bag of groceries.
This kid has a powerful quirk indeed. I think he'd make a great hero one day, but it seems he hasn't used his quirk much. Does it have something to do with him saying it was a late-blooming quirk, or a quirk that needed time to develop?
As he thought this, both Midoriya and All Might quickly scooped up the villain into the 2-liter bottle as Midoriya took out his notebook to ask for All Might to sign. Generously, All Might agreed to do so for a fanboy.
Well, I must be off now. Now I need to get this guy turned into the police. A hero's work is never finished,
All Might said as he sat in a crouched position ready to take off. Before he could jump, Midoriya grabbed onto his shirt. Wait a second, All Might, sir. All Might looked at Midoriya with curiosity. I have a very important question to ask. All Might looked at the kid in the eyes as he saw something he knew all too familiar.
His eyes. Determination mixed with sadness and grief. I know that look. It's all too familiar.
All Might thought to himself, thinking back to his mentor in him when he was a student at UA.
I think I have time to spare with the kid helping me and all. Make it quick, kid! I do have to get this guy to the police after all!
All Might proudly stated, standing back up. Midoriya looked down to the ground as he clenched his fist. When I was diagnosed at age 4, the doctor told me that I would have a quirk that would help me become a great hero. Midoriya looked at his right hand, clenched tightly. My quirk was said to have the ability to manipulate time. That was nearly 10 years ago. I'm not sure if I have a quirk at all. Training my body and mind with all the sparring I had with my best friend, it's been like that my entire life. I was basically quirkless, discriminated against others for not having my quirk be developed like the others. So I ask you, All Might, the number one hero of Japan, could I become a great hero someday, just like you? Midoriya looked at his idol with a sorrowful yet hopeful look in his eyes. But as they stared at each other, All Might buckled over in pain as steam sprouted from his body. Midoriya looked at All Might with concern and fear as he saw his idol seemingly hurt and now is steaming like a titan from Attack on Titan. All Might, are you okay? Midoriya rushed over to hold All Might up in concern as he felt All Might's muscles slowly start to decrease, and as the smoke cleared, there standing in All Might's place was a skinny man who looked like he was made entirely out of bones. All Might? Midoriya looked at the figure standing in front of him, genuinely fearful as to who was standing in front of him now.
Crap, I thought I'd have more time.
The man looked at his hands as he sat down on a nearby wall. Yes, kid, you are not mistaken. I am The man began as blood spewed from his mouth. Midoriya looked on in shock and disgust at the blood flowing through the man's mouth. What happened to you? This doesn't seem like something that would be known about you. Did you get injured or something? Midoriya asked, concerned for All Might. You would be right, young man. All Might sighed as he then lifted up his shirt, which, right away, Midoriya was horrified by a gigantic scar on All Might's left side near his stomach. This is why I'm like this. I was in a massive fight with a villain 5 years back. He heavily injured me here in my stomach as I lost half of my respiratory system and liver. I can only do hero work for 3 hours a day. The rest of the time, this is what I look like. Wait, 5 years ago? Wasn't it that fight with Toxic Chainsaw? I would imagine that he couldn't have done this much damage to your body in that way, right? Well, at least you know your stuff. You're right, that villain wasn't the one to do the damage to me like this, no. This fight actually had to be kept under wraps and hidden away from the public eye. Wow, this is a lot to take in. Midoriya sighed in worry as he looked at the number 1 hero with regret and sorrow. Well, now you know. I gotta trust you to keep this a secret. The number 1 hero needs to keep this image as the symbol of peace, you know. All Might chuckled at this statement, which let out a small laugh from Midoriya as the tension in the air had left. Well, you would be right about that, and don't worry, my lips are sealed, sir. What should I call you in this form? Midoriya asked in curiosity, knowing if he ever met All Might in this form, he would want to use his civilian name to not cause an uproar in the area. Yagi. Toshinori Yagi. Toshinori said with a chuckle. Now, about your question from earlier before this. Midoriya looked at Toshinori with a questionable look at his next statement. Personally, I would tell someone who is quirkless that it would be dangerous, given what you know about me. Midoriya looked down, waiting for Toshinori to finish his statement. I would say it to protect them. If anything were to happen to a quirkless out in the field of combat in Hero Society, it wouldn't be a pretty sight to see. Midoriya clenched his fist, waiting for an answer to come from Toshinori. But knowing that there are heroes whose quirk makes them fit for underground hero work and are not big and flashy and essentially fight quirkless, makes them a perfect fit for underground work, as the quirkless need to be ready for anything. Midoriya's eyes shot up with curiosity and hopefulness. Underground hero work is also as important as heroes out in the spotlight. Midoriya once again gained a hopeful look, but was interrupted as Toshinori was not finished speaking. But that's not what I'm here to answer. Young man, you might not have realized it yet, but I saw your quirk activate while cleaning up the sludge villain. Midoriya was baffled. His hero, no, the number 1 hero himself, said that he saw him use his quirk. He must be dreaming. Your quirk, I believed, had recently manifested when you were defending yourself against the sludge villain. So my answer to you is this. Young man, with your quirk, you can become a hero. As I heard these words from All Might himself, I was hopeful. I heard these words that gave me joy, gave me purpose. He was there for me when I needed the help of someone who believed I could become a hero. He saw my quirk activate then and now. I was happy he told me I could become a hero. He might have sustained a massive injury from a villain battle that I had no clue as to who it was yet. But as far as I knew, reality gave me a chance at becoming a hero. 'Cause time was on my side. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.